I used to think I was some kind of princess, strutting around with my Prince Charming, Grant, the golden boy of San Francisco with his chiseled jaw, trust fund, and a family name that opened every door. Ha! What a joke. I was so damn naive thinking love was some Hollywood fairy tale, all sparkles and happy endings. Turns out it was just a cheap act, the kind of drama the elite play to keep their egos fed. Back then, I was Eleanor, the girl who thought she had it all figured out, building an empire with my parents while Grant played the perfect boyfriend. God, I was blind. My family ran an event planning business, the kind that catered to the filthy rich. We threw everything from knockoff Met galas to Super Bowl bashes where tech bros and influencers rubbed elbows. I was in my element, hustling to make every detail perfect. The lighting, the guest list, the vibe. It was my art, my battlefield. And Grant? He was the heir to a chain of eco-luxury resorts, the kind that screamed, "We care about the planet," while charging $10,000 a night. Everyone said we were the power couple, the ones merging two dynasties. I'd be lying if I said I didn't eat it up. I loved the way people looked at us like we were untouchable. But while I was pouring my soul into our family's legacy, Grant was simmering. I didn't see it then, but he was jealous. The kind of petty, festering jealousy that eats a man alive. I remember those early days so clearly, like they're etched into my skull. Grant would pull me into his world, all glitz and glamour. One night, he whisked me off to a Beyoncé concert, VIP tickets, the works. We were front row, screaming along to Love on Top, and he grabbed my hand, yelling over the music, "I love you, Eleanor." I melted, right there in front of his smug friends and their designer outfits. I thought it was real, that he was shouting it to the world because he meant it. Now I know better. He was performing, putting on a show to mask the rot inside him. Every grand gesture, every whispered promise. It was all part of his game, and I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. Looking back, there were signs, little cracks in his perfect mask. He'd make these snide comments disguised as jokes about how I was too good benches at my job, how I made him look bad. I'd laugh it off, thinking he was just teasing. But deep down, I felt it, this nagging unease, like a splinter under my skin. Grant wasn't cheering me on. He was keeping score. I was outshining him, and he couldn't stand it. Me, a woman, running circles around him in a world where he thought he was king. I didn't want to see it, didn't want to admit that the man I loved was threatened by me. So, I ignored the red flags, buried them under my dreams of a perfect future. Big mistake. I was 28, full of fire, thinking I could conquer anything. My parents had built our company from nothing, and I was damn proud to carry it forward. I'd stay up all night sketching table setups or sweet-talking vendors, making sure every event was flawless. Grant would smile and nod, but his eyes were cold. I told myself he was stressed, that running his family's resorts was a lot. I made excuses for him because that's what you do when you're in love, right? You lie to yourself. I didn't know then that he was already plotting, waiting for his chance to tear me down. I was too busy building my castle to notice the snake slithering through the gates. There was this one moment that sticks with me, like a Polaroid I can't throw away. It was at a charity gala we threw for some tech mogul's foundation. I was in my zone, directing staff, checking the floral arrangements, making sure the champagne was chilled just right. The room was buzzing, and I felt like I was flying. Grant was there, schmoozing with the guests, but when I caught his eye, he didn't smile. He just stared, his jaw tight, like he was chewing on something bitter. Later, he pulled me aside and said, "You're working too hard, babe. People are starting to talk." I laughed, thinking he was worried about me. "Let them talk," I said, kissing his cheek. "I'm killing it." He didn't laugh back. That should have been my first clue. I was so caught up in the whirlwind, the events, the praise, the dream of being the best, that I didn't see what was coming. Grant wasn't just my boyfriend. He was my shadow, watching every move, hating every step I took without him. I thought we were a team, but he was playing a different game, one where only he could win. And me? I was just a pawn he needed to knock off the board. I didn't know it yet, but my fairy tale was about to crash and burn, and Grant was holding the match. So yeah, I was a fool. I believed in love, in him, in us. I thought I was building something unbreakable, but all I was doing was setting myself up for the fall, and when it came, it hit hard. But here's the thing, Grant. You thought you could break me. You thought I'd stay down. You were wrong. This is my story, and it's not about how I fell. It's about how I got back up, spit in your face, and built something you could never touch. I can still feel the heat of that night, the way my blood boiled as everything I'd built turned to ash. I'd poured my soul into the biggest event of my career, a Coachella-inspired charity bash for tech billionaires and A-list celebs. Picture it, fairy lights dripping from palm trees, a live band blasting indie beats, and a guest list that could make TMZ drool. I'd been up for weeks, triple-checking every detail, the sound system, the catering, the security. I was running on coffee and adrenaline, but I was in my element, making magic happen. This was my moment, the one that would cement our company as the best in San Francisco. And then Grant, that snake, burned it all down. The night started perfect. I was in a sleek black dress, weaving through the crowd, shaking hands with CEOs and influencers. The vibe was electric. People were dancing, laughing, posting selfies with our branded hashtags. I caught a glimpse of myself in a mirrored wall and thought, I did this. Me. But then it happened. Out of nowhere, security started turning people away at the gate. Big names, actors, tech moguls, even a senator, were stuck outside, fuming because their names weren't on the list. I ran to the entrance, my heels clicking on the pavement, my heart pounding. What the hell is going on? I yelled at the head of security. He showed me the guest list. It was all wrong, a complete mess of random names and typos. My stomach dropped. This wasn't a mistake. This was sabotage. The fallout was brutal. Guests were screaming, paparazzi were snapping photos, and Twitter was already lighting up with posts about the disaster. I was backstage, shouting into my headset, trying to fix it. But it was like trying to stop a tsunami with a bucket. The damage was done. Celebs stormed out, sponsors pulled their checks, and the headlines the next day were merciless. Eleanor's epic fail, and San Francisco's hottest planner crashes and burns. I stood there watching my dream unravel, and then I saw him, Grant, leaning against a bar, sipping a drink, his face cold as ice. Tough night, babe, he said, his voice dripping with fake sympathy. Maybe you're not cut out for this. His parents were there too, shaking their heads, muttering about how our company was unprofessional. I wanted to scream, to claw his smug face off, but I was too busy trying to salvage what was left. The weeks that followed were hell. We lost million-dollar contracts overnight. Clients who'd praised us for years ghosted us. The San Francisco elite, those vultures, started whispering, Eleanor's a liability, she can't handle the big leagues. My parents, who'd spent decades building our reputation, were forced to grovel, apologizing to people who didn't deserve their time. I saw my mom cry for the first time in years, her hands shaking as she drafted emails to save face. My dad, always the rock, looked like he'd aged 10 years. And me? I was a ghost, walking through the wreckage of my life. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I'd trusted Grant, loved him, and he'd stabbed me in the back. His betrayal wasn't just personal and that it was a calculated hit to destroy everything I'd worked for. I kept replaying that night, trying to figure out how it went so wrong. Then it hit me. Grant had access to the guest list. He'd offered to help with the database a week before, saying he wanted to take some stress off me. I'd been so grateful, so stupid. He'd swapped the real list for a fake one, knowing it would tank the event. I had no proof yet, but I could see it in his eyes, that smug glint when he thought he'd won. He didn't just want to hurt me, he wanted to humiliate me to prove I was nothing without him. And his parents? They were in on it, happy to let their golden boy crush me to boost their own empire. I felt like such an idiot, thinking we were partners when all along I was just a threat he needed to eliminate. I remember one night, sitting in my apartment, staring at a bottle of wine I didn't even open. My phone was blowing up with notifications. Cruel tweets, canceled contracts, friends who suddenly had plans. I wanted to curl up and disappear. My whole world had crumbled, and Grant was out there, probably toasting his victory with his rich buddies. I could hear his voice in my head, calling me babe like it was a joke. I hated him, but I hated myself more for trusting him. I thought I was done, that I'd never climb out of this hole. But then, something snapped. I looked at the photos on my wall, me with my parents, laughing at some cheesy company party. I thought of my little brother, Daniel, who always called me sis, like it was a badge of honor. I wasn't going to let Grant win. Not like this. You thought you broke me, Grant? You thought I'd stay down crying over your betrayal? Nah, you messed with the wrong girl. I was hurt, yeah, but I wasn't dead. You played dirty, and I was just getting started. I'd rebuild brick by brick, and when I was done, you'd be the one eating dirt. This wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of my comeback. I hit rock bottom, and let me tell you, it was ugly. There I was, sitting alone in my apartment, a half-empty glass of wine staring back at me like it was judging my life choices. The mirror across the room showed a stranger saw, bags under my eyes, hair a mess, and a look that screamed defeat. I kept asking myself, how did you let a punk like Grant ruin you? I wanted to give up, to crawl into bed and let the world forget me. But every time I closed my eyes, I saw my parents' faces, their tired smiles after years of grinding for our company. I saw my little brother, Daniel, with his goofy grin, calling me sis, like I was some superhero. And Isabel, my ride-or-die best friend, she'd probably slap me if she saw me like this. They didn't deserve to lose me to Grant's games. So I decided to fight. It wasn't some grand moment of clarity, no movie montage with uplifting music. It was just me wiping my tears, splashing cold water on my face, and saying, enough. I wasn't going to let that smug bastard define me. I started small, real small. Our company was radioactive after the Coachella disaster, so I took whatever gigs I could get. Backyard weddings with tacky centerpieces, store openings for some random boutique, even a kid's birthday party with a bouncy castle. I'd show up with my clipboard, fake a smile, and make sure every detail was perfect. No mistakes, no excuses. I was proving to myself, and to every snob who'd written me off, that I wasn't the incompetent screw-up Grant painted me to be. Those early days were brutal. I'd work 16-hour shifts, hauling tables, arguing with vendors, and biting my tongue when clients lowballed me. My hands were calloused, my bank account was a joke, and I'd come home smelling like cheap catering. But every job, no matter how small, was a brick in my comeback. I'd lie awake at night, replaying Grant's betrayal, and channel that rage into my work. Each contract I nailed was a middle finger to him. You thought I was nothing, Grant? Watch me. Slowly, the whispers in San Francisco changed. People started saying, Eleanor's back. She's good. I didn't need his family's money or his fake charm. I was building my own light, and it was brighter than anything he could touch. My family and friends were my lifeline. My parents, God bless them, never gave up on me. Mom would slip me coffee and homemade sandwiches when I was pulling all-nighters. Dad, quiet as ever, would just pat my shoulder and say, you're tougher than this, kid. Daniel, my 19-year-old brother, was a whirlwind. He'd scour Instagram for leads, DMing small businesses like he was my personal hype man. My sister's the best planner in the city. He'd brag, and I'd roll my eyes but secretly love it. And Isabel? She was a force of nature. She'd drag me out for drinks, cussing out Grant like she was ready to key his car. She even wrote glowing reviews about me for local blogs, sneaking in jabs at overrated resort airs. They kept me sane, kept me moving. I wasn't alone in this fight. It took 3 years. 3 long, sweaty, soul-crushing years, Kenna. But I clawed my way back. I started landing bigger gigs. A tech startup's launch party, a fashion brand's pop-up event. Then came the big one. A contract with a major winery for their annual gala. I walked into that vineyard, saw the rows of grapes under the sunset, and felt something I hadn't in years: pride. I'd done this on my own, no shortcuts, no handouts. The gala was a hit, and the client's CEO shook my hand, saying, "You're the real deal, Eleanor." I smiled, but inside I was screaming, "Take that, Grant." Every win was a slap in his face. a reminder that I didn't need him or his toxic world. There were moments I almost broke. Late nights when I'd find an old photo of me and Grant, laughing like we were invincible. I'd sit there, heart aching, wondering if I'd ever trust anyone again. But then I'd think of my parents, of Daniel's dumb jokes, of Isabel's fierce loyalty. They were my reason to keep going. I wasn't just rebuilding our company, I was rebuilding me. I learned to be ruthless with my time, to cut out anyone who didn't respect my grind. I wasn't that naive girl anymore, the one who thought love was enough. I was sharper, tougher, and damn proud of it. By the end of those 3 years, I was standing taller than ever. Our company was back in the game, and my name was starting to mean something again. I'd walk into meetings with my head high, knowing I'd earned every ounce of respect. Grant probably thought I'd fade away, just another casualty of his ego. But I was still here, still fighting, and stronger than he could ever imagine. And the best part? I wasn't done yet. The universe was about to throw me a bone, and when it did, I'd make sure Grant and his whole damn family felt the weight of their sins. I'd been grinding for 3 years, clawing my way back from the pit Grant threw me into, when the universe finally tossed me a grenade, and I pulled the pin with a smile. It started with a text from a number I didn't know. "You deserve to know the truth about Grant." Attached was a file, and my heart skipped a beat. I met the sender at a dive bar across town, a guy named Mike, a former assistant to Grant's family. He looked nervous, sipping his beer like it was his last. "They screwed me over," he said, sliding a USB drive across the table. "And they screwed you worse." That little black stick held everything: emails, texts, proof that Grant had sabotaged my Coachella event. He'd sent the fake guest list on purpose, and his parents? They knew the whole damn time and played along to protect their precious boy. I gripped that USB so tight my knuckles turned white. Game on, Grant! I spent hours at my desk, the glow of my laptop burning my eyes as I sifted through the evidence. There it was, in black and white. Grant's email to his buddy, bragging about how he'd put Eleanor in her place. Another to his dad, confirming the fake list was sent to security. His mom's reply was the kicker. Good. She was getting too big for her boots. My blood boiled, but I wasn't shocked. This was who they were. A family of snakes who thought they could crush anyone who dared shine brighter. I could have leaked it all right then, let Twitter tear them apart. But I waited. I wanted the perfect moment to make them bleed. That moment came faster than I expected. Grant's family was hyping up the event of the year, a lavish wedding for his younger brother, Ethan, at one of their resorts. It was all over social media, #Ethan and Clara, aerial shots of the venue, influencers gushing about the guest list. They were banking on this to solidify their status as San Francisco's untouchable elite. So I made my move. I sent the USB's contents to a friend at a local news outlet, someone I trusted to handle it right. Within hours, the story broke. Resort airs dirty trick ruins charity gala. The emails were plastered everywhere, unedited, undeniable. Twitter exploded with #Grant scandal, and the internet did what it does best. It ripped them to shreds. The fallout was glorious. Guests started canceling on Ethan's wedding, sponsors pulled out, and their resort bookings tanked. I saw it all unfold from my phone, scrolling through posts, calling Grant a jealous loser and his parents complicit frauds. Their empire, built on lies and fake eco-friendly PR, was crumbling, and I didn't lift a finger to stop it. I didn't need to. The truth was my weapon, and it hit harder than any revenge plot I could have cooked up. I leaned back in my chair, sipping coffee, and let myself feel it. The sweet, sharp sting of justice. Then came the cherry on top. A week after the scandal broke, a lawyer showed up at my office, all slick suit and fake smiles, sent by Grant's parents. They wanted me to save Ethan's wedding, to consult and fix their PR nightmare. The nerve of these people. I sat across from the guy, my arms crossed, and let him ramble about mutual benefits and generous compensation. When he finished, I leaned forward, looked him dead in the eye, and said, "Thanks, but I don't clean up other people's trash." His face went red, and he stammered some excuse before scurrying out. I didn't budge, not because I was petty, though, yeah, it felt good, but because I was done playing their games. Money doesn't buy dignity, and I wasn't for sale. I thought about Grant, probably pacing in his fancy penthouse, watching his world collapse. Did he think I'd stay quiet forever? That I'd let him walk over me and keep his crown? Nah, he misread me from the start. I didn't need to scream or fight dirty like he did. I just let the truth do the talking, and it screamed loud enough for both of us. His family's name, once gold in this city, was now a punchline. Resorts half empty, deals canceled, their legacy rotting like fruit left in the sun. And me? I was still standing, my company stronger than ever, my head high. I won't lie, there was a part of me that wanted to gloat, to call Grant and rub it in his face, but I didn't. I wasn't him. I didn't need to kick someone when they were down, I just needed to make sure I was up. And I was. Every contract I signed, every event I pulled off, was proof I didn't need his world to shine. He'd tried to bury me, but all he did was plant the seeds for my comeback. Now his family was begging for scraps, and I was the one calling the shots. That's not revenge, Grant. That's just life teaching you a lesson you should have learned a long time ago. I'm standing on the roof of my new office, the San Francisco skyline glittering below me, and I can't help but laugh. I did it, Grant. I didn't just crawl out of the hole you threw me into. I built a damn empire from the ashes. My company's the hottest name in the city now, booking events for tech tycoons, Oscar winners, even that senator you screwed over at my gala. They're all in my inbox, begging for a slot on my calendar. Me, Eleanor, the girl you thought you'd break. I walk into meetings now and jaws drop. I didn't just save my parents' legacy. I turned it into a legend, shining so bright it blinds anyone who doubted me. You tried to bury me, but I'm up here, sipping champagne while you're down there, scraping by in the dirt. It's been over a year since your family's world started imploding, and the gossip's still juicy. Your resorts are half empty with for sale signs popping up like weeds. Ethan's wedding? A sad little barbecue in some rented hall, not the fairy tale bash you hyped. Your parents are liquidating assets, their smug smiles long gone. I don't gloat, well, maybe a quick smirk when I pass your old resort, now a shuttered husk with cracked windows. But I don't waste my energy hating you. I'm too busy running my empire, signing deals you couldn't touch in your wildest dreams. Every perfect event, every glowing review is my middle finger to you. You wanted me erased, Grant? Too bad. My name's on every billboard and I'm just getting started. My life's a different beast now, and it's beautiful. I found love again, the kind that doesn't come with strings or jealousy. His name's Marcus, a graphic designer with a laugh that fills a room and a habit of sneaking me coffee when I'm buried in work. He's not some flashy heir, just a guy who gets me, who cheers when I win instead of sulking. We crank Beyoncé's Single Ladies in my loft every morning, dancing like nobody's watching, my bare feet slapping the hardwood. I catch myself smiling, real unguarded smiles, and it hits me. I'm free. No more chasing your fake promises or dodging your ego. I'm living for me, and it's the sweetest victory I could have asked for. I think about the old Eleanor sometimes, the one who thought you were her forever. She was so young, so ready to believe in fairy tales. She's gone now, and I don't mourn her. She taught me to spot liars like you, to trust my instincts, to fight when the odds are stacked against me. Your betrayal isn't a weight anymore. It's a badge, proof I'm tougher than you ever imagined. I keep a photo on my desk, me, my parents, Daniel and Isabel, grinning at a company party years ago. It reminds me who I'm fighting for. My parents are retired now, lounging on a beach in Mexico, sending me selfies with margaritas. You did it, kid, Dad texts, and I tear up every time. Daniel's off launching his tech startup, still calling me sis, like it's his job, slipping me playlists to keep me cool. Isabel's my rock, always ready with wine and a plan to accidentally egg your car. They're my real empire, Grant, and you'll never come close to that. I drove by your family's old resort last week, the one where you used to parade me like a prop. It's a ghost town, vines crawling up the walls, the neon sign flickering like it's giving up. I didn't feel smug, just done. You thought you could shatter me, but you didn't know who you were dealing with. I didn't need to scream or scheme like you did. I just lived better, worked harder, loved deeper. That's my revenge. Not destroying you, but building myself so high, you're just a speck below me. I pull off events now that make your family's galas look like high school proms. My latest, a tech mogul's yacht party with fireworks spelling out the client's logo. The crowd cheered, and I stood there, heart racing, thinking, this is mine. I'm not telling this story to rub it in, though it's tempting. I'm telling it for anyone who's been burned, who's felt their world collapse. You don't need to fight dirty like Grant did. You don't need to sink to their level. Just get up, wipe the tears, and live so fiercely it stings them. Let them watch you soar while they're stuck in their own mess. You wanted to crush me, Grant? Sorry, I'm too busy dancing on the ruins of your world, heels clicking, Beyoncé blasting, with a skyline that's mine to rule. That's my story. If you've ever been betrayed, listen close. You don't need to hit back. Live like a queen, and the ones who hurt you will choke on their own lies. They'll fall like Grant's family did. Oh, they fell hard. I'm proof you can rise, not just to survive, but to own it. So turn up the music, grab your coffee, and build your empire. The view from the top is worth every damn scar.